Hey, it's TDA and welcome back to Ixion. So far I can conclude that the reviews that this game is hard were definitely on spot, because even though we did very well in the last few episodes, at least I don't think we did anything wrong, we're still always scraping by. I mean, we're not doing bad, don't get me wrong, but we are definitely not having an easy time. We have a little bit of everything, but we definitely need more people. Luckily we are now bringing them in through the cryonics center. And, well, we are starting to get up on our production. So we have some alloys in production very soon. We have a cargo ship with iron on its way, so that will give us more resources. We actually do have 2 ships already. 2 cargo ships, that is. We also have 2 mining ships. Where is it? There's the other one. And I'm actually thinking we should add another science ship as well, because we have a lot of stuff going on in the map. So we need to explore Outer Hope, which is the space station that we accidentally discovered in the tutorial. And, well, we have rediscovered a lot of the planets as well, and we need a lot more science going on because the technology center by itself only produces a pitiful amount of science every turn. So, in other words, we have plenty to do. We do have a small practical problem, and that is that the people that we found floating around in the space are actually being delivered to the wrong sector, and I don't want to reassign a cargo ship just for that. So what we're going to do is build a stockpile over here in the corner, and we will set that to the cryonic pods so that they will be carried from there to there and then from there to the other sector. Oh look, we got our first supply of iron. It's now going into the smelter, and then hopefully we should see this very soon starting to produce something. Can I see that it's producing something? Oh, actually it needs to have the full stock, I believe. There we go. Oh, it has a nice little animation as well with pouring iron into this. That's so nice. And with that in action, I think it's also time to start working on our next factory, which is going to be a polymer refinery. I think they should fit in nicely in this corner over here. There we go. And we also need some stockpiles to go along with that. So let's see. Stockpile, there we go. We'll have one over here and then one over here. The first one is going to have the raw carbon, which is this one. And then we also need the polymers to actually go somewhere. So let's have that set to this one. And it's a little bit annoying that we have to do this like this. But at least that will make sure that this route is relatively efficient. And our second science ship is going to go to Outer Hope, the space station, so we can progress the main quest a little bit. We could also go and explore some of the planets, but I think I'll use my other ship for that. Focusing on the main priorities first, just so we can get hopefully a lot of materials out of that and really progress our base. Because right now, I think we also need to focus a little bit on a second EVA building, because this is not going to cut it. If we open anything else or anything else goes wrong, we'll start to lose hull integrity once again. We found more dead people. The wrecks of shuttles float everywhere. Most belong to the UN, though there are some bearing the acronym BMS. Despite the many hazards and potential psychological impacts from the presence of human corpses, the Maxwell's team was able to locate some salvageable resources. So apparently so far it's not really good news, but hey, more alloys, we need those. We need pretty much everything of this, so that's fine. We've also now discovered everything we can in the debris field, so we're going to collect this science, and then we're going to go on to Mercury to collect that science, and then I guess we'll go to Mars to see what's happening over there. Well, our science ship is now at Outer Hope, so let's see what's going on there. A Dolos emergency signal is broadcasting from these coordinates. It originates from the research station Outer Hope. Outer Hope is surrounded by wreckage and debris from a past battle. Broken equipment and frozen bodies float around the station. The emergency signal is transmitting from inside. Seems to be a theme around here. Battle, frozen bodies. Let's begin with searching the battlefield before we go inside, because hopefully if we meet anyone inside, we'll have some more information whether or not whatever they're telling us is actually the truth. I'm not sure if this... I might be overthinking this once again, but let's go with this anyway. Let's find out what's happening at Mars. An old, disused complex named the Rickers facility has been located on the surface of Mars. The derelict UN-owned facility is almost covered entirely by Martian sand. Existing Dolos clearance codes can be used to interact with the complex systems. Caution is advised as the weight of the sand might exceed the structure's load-bearing capacity. Well, let's just access it. It's also worth noting that there is definitely a pacing thing going on in this game, because right now we're barely scraping by on alloys, although we are bringing in a lot, so we don't have a problem. But it is quite well balanced in terms that if you mess up, you will die. And so the difficulty thing is definitely spot on. We're also going to need a lot more people, so I've started to assign the workers to Sector 2 because of the amount of people that I have here. I'm actually on the overwork condition, which is a little bit more severe than the extra hours that the other people are putting in over here. So yeah, we definitely need to kind of throttle our expansion until we have, well, defrosted the people that we still have in storage. Meanwhile, back on Mars, the codes briefly reactivated the base's defense systems, and due to the facility's state, they fortunately overloaded and are now offline. The team of Maxwell did not suffer any losses. Well, that's good. Can we do anything here now? Oh, we can do a lot of stuff. We can investigate the storage area. We can inspect Scientific Study Center. We can do a full sweep. Okay. Or we can prepare the site for resource extraction. Although time... Okay, so this is basically, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want both? Or do you want to do both and keep everyone safe? So I'm actually going for this option. If we do a combination of the other ones, I'm not sure if we can, but that will take more time anyway, so might as well go for the all-in option. So given the amount of people that we actually need, I'm actually thinking, should we make another cryonics center maybe over here? That way, this is going to cost us another 15 people, but at least we'll be thawing out those people at twice the rate, and considering we need to bring in another 400 of them, I think this is probably going to be worth it. So much still to explore, but at least we know a little bit more about Outer Hope now. The battle seems to have been made up of multiple engagements with debris from the conflicts, mostly consisting out of wrecked shuttles. Some of these destroyed ships bear the insignia of the UN, though the majority carry Dolos emblems. Sophisticated weapon systems were also identified among the wreckage, bearing the acronym BMS. The Planck's team was able to salvage some resources from the debris. Yay, science! Okay, that was not all that interesting, but now at least we can search Outer Hope itself. Alrighty, so we found a little bit of materials here on Mars. I'm not entirely sure if this was worth it, but hey, resources are resources, I suppose. Now, let's see, where do we send this ship next? Let's explore some more planets. And we completed the event at Outer Hope. Outer Hope lies in ruins. Many unbound bodies were found in the remains of the station, deliberately arranged in a spiral-like pattern. Great care and attention seem to have been paid to the bodies. The Planck's team traced the emergency broadcast, and after clearing away several tons of debris, discovered a hidden room buried beneath the detritus. The room was sealed with an automatic lock that requested Tycoon identification codes. Upon entering the codes, a brief message flashed across the input screen. Truth is the story that best resists reality. Inside, the team found Outer Hope's black box, a number of resources, and a data log from Arabian Neocont. That was the lady that we talked to in the first episode. It contained the following message. Administrator, you carry with you what the echo of the future allowed us to create. Self-similar space will reveal the pattern. Black box data can be analyzed using the Tycoon's tech lab. So we found quite a bit of research actually. A new technology is unlocked and we have a new event. That is all very exciting. Let's check out what the event is all about. Okay, so the event is basically just telling us to research the black box technology. Well, I will get right on that. And while you're typing in the comments, we are going to explore Saturn. A structure belonging to the Black Market Society, hey, that's the BMS we've been seeing, has been discovered on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Although severely damaged, the site seems to be still active. Surface scans indicate the BMS station extends deep below the surface of Titan. Further data is not available due to the site firing upon the Titan's probe as it approached. Okay, the Maxwell is maintaining orbit around the Titan at a safe distance. Make contact or just leave it alone? Well, let's just contact them and see what's going on. So this is a lot of text, but basically it's telling us that we got inside, we were attacked briefly by the defense systems, which then shut down. Then we were attacked by monkeys, and then we found a giant fungus that is throwing up spores all over the air. So there's a lot of weird stuff going inside here. And there's also a bronze statue of a Marduk council member. And the interesting thing is that the information might not be entirely accurate. There's a lot of that stuff going on. We got back into the system where we found that the system time clock seems to be kind of off. So we might have traveled through time or something. And there's basically a lot of weird stuff going on. So that's really interesting. But at least for all our efforts, we get some science. Now, the really interesting thing is, do we want to go deeper into the station? I have a feeling this might be a bad idea, but I'm curious, so yeah, I'll bite. So we weren't able to complete the hull in time, or at least repair it in time to get the event popped up, so we took a pretty massive hit, like I think 15% to thrust. Luckily it's still building up, but this is something to keep our eye on, because the hull is not really doing too much. Due to the overwork, we are also basically going to have to build that second EVA lockup sooner rather than later. But if we build it now, it's only going to work against us because we still already have that overwork going on. We have another accident going on here as well, apparently at the storage, but that will repair itself. But all in all, things are kind of breaking down around us because we have overwork and extra hours everywhere. Well, actually, we're down to extra hours now in this zone, so that's good. That reduces the amount of probability of actually getting accidents a little bit, but we want to get this back into the green zone as well, and then we definitely want to expand maybe here as well. But well, in other words, I'm really happy we built that second cryonics center because we need all those people involved ASAP. Well, we are finding resources all over our solar system, so we have no lack of that, and it's going to take forever to bring all of that in, so that's interesting. Which is actually a nice thing because we're currently waiting for our people to get unfrosted as well, but we are making progress on that as well. We're back into extra hours and we only need a couple of more people in here in order to actually satisfy our needs. Just 5 more people and then we'll have this entire sector at full capacity again. In the meanwhile, let's check out what's happening at Venus. There is an industrial infrastructure below the surface. And a large assembly line. Many emballed bodies were found in the area. The line seems to have been originally used to fabricate solar cells. With minor repairs it could be restarted. That seems very interesting, so let's go for that. That does mean we need to divert one of our cargo ships for a little while. It also takes 4 cycles. Well, we have plenty of time, so let's go for that. Which one should be doing that? I think the one focusing on the least important resources. There we go. We completed the research on the black box, so let's see what that is all about. Useful information. Dodo's facility has been located in the atmosphere of Jupiter. Officially designated Hephaestus, this site was used to develop a new type of vol engine. Also accommodated the construction of a Taurus class superstructure known to Dodos as the Protagoras. Oh, that was the kind of the Mark II Titan. This iteration on the Titan was sent on a mission to seek out the habitable exoplanet Remus, where the last survivors of Earth could establish a new home. Despite the damage done to Outer Hope, the station was still able to later receive a distress signal from the Protagoras while with the full jump coordinates encoded, indicating the ship's last presumed location. Okay, so I'm guessing we're going to go after that at some point. And thanks to the second science ship, we are going through all of these events really quickly now. This one is on Saturn, where we found the Black Market Society, and we apparently reached a construction site deserted and almost entirely frozen. Several possible storage areas have been identified but are blocked by ice. The team could try to break through the ice or restart the station's heating systems in an attempt to thaw out the complex. One of the storage areas, though, through the transparency of the ice, a preserved corpse can be seen. So I'm guessing we get some more options. We can either break through the ice, or we can attempt to try and start up the heating facilities. I'm curious why this is the longer option. But honestly, this seems to be the smart solution, so let's go with that one. This event is actually taking up quite a bit of time, so I'm really happy we have those 2 science ships. Okay, so the good news is we are now back to optimal conditions in Sector 2, but we still need more people in Sector 1. And to make matters even worse, we're going to need some more food because we are now over 300 people, which means we need 6 of these. So that will also require some more workers. So this is kind of like a vicious cycle that we are getting ourselves into. But anyway, this should mean we have a decent food production, and we definitely don't want to have our people starving. We're actually going to need 2 of those, since we are still falling out more people. So let's make some more room for another one. There we go, that should do nicely, and then let's see what's happening at Saturn. This is Killian Ryan, we are evacuating immediately. The smelting ice has shorted the main circuit breaker. We heard several explosions and fires have started to spread out throughout the station. We had to abandon everything. Well, apparently that was not the optimal thing to pick. That might have explained why the other option would have taken us a little longer. Now let's see, you are still at Venus, so we need the other ship. And you are going to leave Saturn, and you're going to go for the asteroid belt, I suppose. And we get another tidbit of information because we repaired the assembly line at Venus, and basically we found out these belong to the UN, but are clearly more advanced than our system. They're fully automated, and our team has been able to use them to prepare a number of resources for extraction. During the repair process, an engineer discovered a number of inscriptions written by Ulysses. He speaks of his time as the administrator of Neptune's Hyperlux station Thiaki, and expresses regret over the fate of the station's residents. He used the line to repair elements of his ship so he could reach the headquarters of the Black Market Society. Well, we get some nice stuff from that, and I guess Neptune was where we were trying to figure out some stuff as well, so this is an interesting next destination for our science ships as well. In the asteroid belt, in the meanwhile, we found a space station that is actually broadcasting on a Dolos frequency. It's called the Stanford facility. In order to recover the materials, we'll need to dismantle elements of the structure to gain entrance, but the control center has also been identified, but sealed off with a UN emblem stenciled over it. So we can dismantle, or we can force entry into the control center. Last time we took the shorter option, that was not a good thing. So I'm guessing we'll just dismantle a part this time around and play it safe. Well, the safe option at least paid off, so we get some food, some more frozen people, and some science, all of those being from the Stanford facility. Now, can we do anything else there? I don't think we can, so that's a little bit of a shame. Now I am really wondering what will happen if you actually force yourself into the control center. If you want to find out, buy the game and try it yourself, because you can of course pick different options in each of these events. So I'm not actually showing you everything, although I am kind of inclined to reload and check it out myself as well. Okay, we are slowly getting there. We now are back down to extra hours in this sector, despite the additional insect farms. And I'm also building some more housing, because we need some place for all of these people to live. But slowly but surely we are getting back in control of everything that's going on. So hopefully that means that we'll get this back to optimal soon. We need 36 more people for that though. And then we can maybe build a second EVA to make sure we get our hull back under control. And then I actually want to build a secondary dock here as well, so we can gather resources a lot faster on top of that. Yeah, so there's actually an event happening at Jupiter and Neptune as well, so let's go check out that. Using the black box information, we successfully located the Hephaestus construction facility. Okay. Let's see, so it seems to have been inactive for several decades, but strangely the industrial zone is still powered and operational, so let's investigate, I suppose. Meanwhile, back at Neptune, we found the luxury station on Triton. It seems to have been almost entirely dismantled. A few areas left suggest that those who lived here were swimming in opulence. The place is huge. We have found a sealed room protected by a heavily armored blast door. Dents in the door's metal suggest that others have unsuccessfully tried to gain entry. They want to use explosives. Well, it seems people have already tried that, so I'm not entirely sure that's a good idea. And apparently my advisor agrees with me. So we can use explosives to try and breach the room. We could have had the option to use the biometric data from Ulysses. That's the guy that we found on the other planet. And where we tried to thaw everyone out, but that's didn't work. So that's interesting, because if we had succeeded at that, we could have done this option, but now we can't. This seems to be a very bad idea, so I don't think we should do that. So we can provoke a structural collapse and salvage what's left, or collect what's usable from the remains of the station. Not entirely sure what the difference between these two options is, but if we at least provoke a collapse, then it can collapse on us, right? So let's go with that one. Aha, so this is interesting. We found the automated construction site, which despite its age is still in good working condition. There's a mausoleum dedicated to Lyra Fraus. I don't know how you pronounce that, but either way, the resident PA identified us as Dodo's personnel and granted us access to the data records. These confirm that the Hephaestus site was used to construct and house an advanced prototype of the Vol engine, codenamed Ixion. Hey, that's the name of the game. An engine of this type is currently moored to an EKP structure with a harness link. Our engineers say that one of our mining ships could tow this. Attaching the Ixion engine to the Tycoon will restore our Vol jump capabilities, and we get 200 more personnel to get back from this station as well. So that's interesting. I assume we get some follow-up. Yeah, we can extract the Ixion from the atmosphere of Jupiter. So let's go and do that. And let's see, this should probably be done by our... Doesn't really matter which ship, I suppose. So let's go with that one. And back on Neptune, we basically collapsed the remains of the Thiaki station and got a nice amount of stuff from there as well. That means we're almost done with all the events, so this was a very event-heavy episode, but we only have Uranus left, and as far as I can tell with the probes, I haven't been able to find any more locations with events. We do have some more asteroids to discover, but I have way more asteroids right now than I probably am going to be able to mine. So I'm guessing, well, maybe actually this one, because we do not have a lot of hydrogen. But other than that, we are almost done, so we should now focus on further stabilizing our facility. Now, I built an 8th insect farm because we needed even more food because we're approaching 400 people. We have a lot of options here, but before we can make use of all of those options, we need to make sure we actually have the people to work them. So just a little bit of waiting happening here until we can actually progress. And let's see what's going on at our last event. We have abnormal thermal activity when we are unable to deduce its nature or source. We found a tree. Seems impossible in such an environment. Yep, it does seem impossible. I've seen never anything like it. It's breathtaking. The tree sheds its leaf quite rapidly, but they reform almost instantly, crystallizing from the branches. The root structure appears to sink deep into the planet. I hope you are receiving our images, as this feels like a fever dream. We can cut down the tree, or we can carry out ecological analysis. Let's analyze it first. I suppose we can always cut it down later. And in the meanwhile, at Jupiter, at the Hephaestus Center, we well, basically extracted some science. It's actually quite a bit of science, so this is really nice, because we are going to need all the science we can get, and I'll show you why in a moment. So, science, yes, we unlocked the next tier of buildings, and, well, we're going to need a lot of science for this. There's housing things over here, there is food things over here, that all cost 60 to explore. We have something to do with colonization. Not entirely sure where we're going to need that, but not for now, I think. We have fire stations as well, but on top of that, we actually have upgrades for pretty much every building we have unlocked already. These are a little bit cheaper, so that's nice. So, for example, you can have workshop automatically restore things. You can have your stockpiles, stock more stuff. Not everything is unlocked, but quite a few things are already. I think actually the thing I want to go for first is the one I found over here. The assistant promotion, and this actually allows your tech lab to produce 3 units of science every 5 cycles. Now, currently it's producing 1 every 30. So this is like, I don't know, 20, 18 times as much. That's a lot. So let's go for that one first. Then we actually have our tech lab producing not a huge amount of science, but at least a slight amount. That will make us a little bit less reliant on finding it somewhere else. So it seems the tree is actually almost entirely edible. Yummy. Its roots, leaves, and fruits can all be eaten. We got some signs for that. Can we still cut it down now? We can harvest it, or we can cut it down. Let's harvest it, I suppose, and we can always cut it down later. I'm guessing that if we do this, we won't actually be able to cut it down. But there's always a good reason to have an edible, fast-growing tree nearby, right? So let's go for that. Now we're getting to the end of this chapter, but before we actually go there, there's a couple of more things I want to do. I want to make sure we have a lot of basic production up and running, so we can liberate as many of the resources from our current sector before we leave, and stock up on whatever we can collect. But also we need more power, and we need more repair to our hull. All of which requires maybe another one of these steel mills. We'll want another docking bay, and we'll want another EVA. What is this called? EVA airlock. And probably in that order, because the EVA airlock is also going to cost us some more alloy, and in order to bring in more resources, well, actually I'm not sure about that. Maybe we should build the EVA airlock first, so we can actually build more power, then the steel mill, so we can actually make use of the EVA airlock, and then finish up with more collecting of resources. That sounds like a plan, so let's go for that. Actually, a small change of plans. I actually made a steel mill first, because at the rate I'm currently making steel and consuming steel here as well, basically I'm going to need more of that, and it will take me forever to get the 90 steel, or alloy I mean, to get the EVA airlock up and running. Because we still have that power issue, that means I do have to turn all kinds of stuff off for a little while. So hopefully this is a kind of like a high risk, high reward type of situation, because currently we have a lot of stuff turned off. So yeah, let's see if this works out. In the meanwhile, on the bright side, we are producing a little bit of science now every 5 cycles, and I'm really wondering what we should take next. I'm a little bit tempted to invest into these insect farms, even though I don't think necessarily that's the way forward. I do have a lot of those at the moment, and I don't really want to make a crop farm because we need water, but I think we also need the fusion station for that, so I need both of those to actually make use of those. Similarly, for the mushroom wall, you can make waste into food, but we would need the DLS center, I think, to actually manage our waste. And similarly, the waste treatment center over here also needs that DLS center. So yeah, all in all, I'm not entirely sure what to go for next. Okay, well, other than some small issues with power, because I was also building some additional food supply, considering I have almost 500 people now. Yeah, so far so good, but this is definitely tricky, let's put it like that. I also turned down the cryopods, even though we have 300 more people in storage, because currently we do not want more people to feed until we get a more efficient way of feeding them. Which won't probably be in this sector, because we're going to need a lot more science for that. On that note, I do think I decided what I want to research next, and that is the DLS center. So we can either go for the waste treatment center and turn all our waste into more stuff, which is always useful, or we can use it to go towards the mushroom wall over here. So either way, turning our trash into treasure seems like a very good idea, but in order to do that, we are going to have to research this one. Almost forgot we were harvesting some stuff from a tree, and guess what? We got some food out of that. Now, we might as well just cut down the tree and hopefully get some more stuff out of that, because I don't think we're going to be staying in this particular solar system for very long. So let's go and do that. Alright, so this was definitely a good call, because now we have the EVA up and running, and I actually remembered to turn off the steel mill just before it finished, so we didn't get another power overload. And as you can see, with 2 of these, my hull is coming back up and running really fast. But however, what I really want to do here is switch this to some solar sail production. And hopefully once we have that, it will give us another 45 of those. You can actually do both, I believe. Yeah, we are actually making some polymers as well. That way we will definitely be able to power everything else we have going on and really stockpile some resources before we move on. Oh man, life with power is so much better. We have everything back up and running, including our polymer factory. I also built a couple of additional stockpiles, and I'm working on some additional housing so I can actually have the people that we need over here. We didn't have that much housing yet. This is a little inefficient, so not completely happy about this. We might have to rearrange this housing at some point. It's more efficient to have some stockpiles in there. Just not entirely sure what I want to put in there. Now, if we really want to be prepared for the next stage, then there is one more thing that we could build, and that is an electronics factory, because we do actually have a fair amount of silicon in this sector, so we could prepare that to begin with. That's going to cost us another 30 employees though, although we could turn it off and then it doesn't actually require anything. It also requires 30 power. But if we just place it down, wow, this is a big boy. Here, maybe? Not entirely sure actually where we should put it. This might not be the worst location either, depending on what we can fit in there. I do also really want another docking bay. We place that one over here. Yeah, actually that might work. Like a docking bay over here, and then a polymer, an electronics factory over here. That might not be the worst thing in the world. This might be a little bit more space efficient, honestly. Yeah, so let's go with that one. Almost forgot about our tree, but we cut it down, and apparently there's a plaque beneath it that showed that it was a collaboration between Henry Barjaville and Rabia Neocont. It was the lady from the space station when they joined the Astangites. Oh, the names in this game, really. They offered their creation to humanity, hoping it would erase some of the debt created by the atrocities of Dolos. So they did some good stuff as well. Well, the good thing is that we get some additional food, we get some more resources and some science, so that was definitely worth cutting down, even though I kind of feel bad about it, but hey, it's not going to be of use to anyone else. I love it when the plan comes together, because now we have that second docking station. I'm going to set 2 cargo ships here, and then 1 more mining ship, and then we should have all the resource mining we need for a very long time. At least that's what I'm hoping. The factories that you're not using should be turned off, I believe, at least until you are sure they will always be working. I don't currently have any silicon. I still need to pick it up with my cargo ships, so this might as well not be consuming the 30 energy it would otherwise be consuming. Everything else is still working at optimal speed. Probably going to add in just a few more of these stockpiles, and then we're going to call it a day for this zone. Now, with all of that built, there's actually one last thing I want to do, and that is set up some batteries, because of course whenever we are moving or whenever we have a power outage, having these batteries in place will make a huge difference. So it's just 3 over here in the corner because we had that nice little room over there. And I built a couple of them over here as well. Now, we're probably going to redesign this particular sector later on, but at least for now we have them snugly fit into there. And other than that, there is actually one more thing I want to do, and that is build some more power, because right now we are again very close on maxing out on power, so why not build one more set of solar cells. We are actually getting some electronics in now, so this is not as expensive as it seems. We will lose a little bit of hull integrity in the meanwhile, but that's not a big deal. Well, you can't say that this game hint isn't really clear. Move or die. We just got a -1 stability penalty for staying in the system too long. Now, it says permanent, but it's not actually permanent. It will not begin to heal till the crew can set foot on their new home. So as far as I know, this is not actually permanent, but this will go away as soon as we go to the next system. Now, this is not necessarily a problem. We're still neutral, so we can hang around for just a little bit longer. But as you can see, everything is going pretty well. I'm actually working on the last set of solar cells as well, or actually the 6th, I believe it is. Let me check. It's the one that costs 60 and 2. And there we go again. Let's move to Jupiter. Okay, so we have a lot of infrastructure, we have a lot of resources, and we have even a lot of science. So I guess it's time to go. Let's prepare the Ixion for Tycoon connection. And there we go, and now we get to actually attach the thing through the EVA airlock. Well, that's actually not entirely for free, so that's more resource than I was expecting that to cost, but hey, I guess we're not going anywhere without it. The hey protocols are online, Stanford checks have passed, and the Ixion engine is fully integrated with the Tycoon systems, and we are ready for ignition. So, I guess we're about to go then. Well, I think we did a pretty good job at hanging around here long enough to stockpile a lot of resources and build out a lot of infrastructure. And if you want to see what happens next when we move on to the next system, make sure you join me in the next episode. If you like this one, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And I hope to catch you in the next one.